Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. In this video, I'll be going over Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. This is a foundational sequence in yoga. It's often used as a warm-up on its own as the full sequence, or variations of Surya Namaskar B are used to create a more full practice. So going through the asanas and being familiar with the flow of this sequence will help as you deepen your practice. Then you won't be able to have to think so much sometimes about your alignment. The more you practice it, you'll be able to just fall more deeply into movement, linking your movement with your breath. And so I'm hoping that some of the tips that I give you today will be helpful. I will be going through the sequence a little more slowly. It's Warrior One is the main pose, and so the sequence kind of goes through 2 rounds. So I'll be taking the first round a little slower to give some cueing and some tips. And then the second time around, I'll move a little bit more quickly with the breath. Before we begin, just a reminder that every body is different, and even our own bodies can feel different from day to day. So please practice at your own discretion and be sure to modify or take a break as needed. You can always pause the video and come back another time. So with that, we will begin. The first asana in this sequence is Tadasana, which is mountain pose. So we stand with our toes facing forward and our feet hip distance apart. You can do a little march sometimes if you are unsure about your hip distance for your feet. You want equal weight in all 4 corners of your feet. You want to stand up tall, roll your shoulders back so your shoulder blades are kind of coming together, and your arms will naturally open and your palms will face forward. Your head lifts, the crown of your head lifts up, and your chin slightly tucks back, almost like you smelled something bad. And so this is mountain pose. Tadasana is a Sanskrit name for this asana. If you're having trouble feeling if you have the right alignment, you can always stand up against a wall with your back against the wall and then step forward, and you'll see how it feels. It might look to the outside like this is not a lot of work, but we are working in this pose. So for Surya Namaskar B, we inhale our arms up overhead and sit back into chair pose. In chair pose, we want our tailbone tucked down slightly, arms up. Weight is in our heels, so you can test that by bringing your toes up. You can lift your toes. Again, always your spine is tall and you're reaching forward. From here, you forward fold down, wherever your hands touch. You're going to have a slight bend in your knees. And then we halfway lift, so our back is straight and lifted. You can look down at the ground. From here, we step back into plank pose. And in plank pose, you want to make sure that your shoulders here, your shoulders, elbows, and wrists are aligned. If you need, and it feels good to you, you can keep your feet, your knees down on the mat. But in from plank, we move to Chaturanga Dandasana, which is 4-limbed stick pose, where we lower ourselves to the mat. And we want to make sure that our elbows stay over our wrists. So to achieve that, You want to slightly shift forward and with control lower to the ground, all the way. From here, we take a back bend. So we can take cobra or up dog, which is our arms are straight and only the tops of our feet are touching the mat. Cobra is a great place, a great pose, especially if you're at the beginning of the practice or you're newer to the practice. Then from here, we tuck our toes and push back into downward facing dog. In downward dog, we have our hands are gripping the mat to try to not put too much weight into our wrists. So we kind of try to grip the mat, which can seem difficult to do, but it's really trying to get more of the weight into kind of the knuckles and the pads of your hands. Your ears pull away from your shoulders. I like to think of somebody very gently placing their palm of their hand in my upper back. You should not be able to see your heels, so your toes are facing forward. Your heels do not need to be all the way to the mat. So as much as you need here. The next move is Warrior 1. So we will take our left foot up, and with the back foot, you pivot your foot at a 45-degree angle and bring your arms up overhead. So your hips stay fairly aligned to the front of the mat. You have a bend in your front knee. Your back leg, if you need a micro bend in your knee, take that. But your foot is at a 45-degree angle. Your arms up overhead, shoulders away from your ears. You look forward. Always make sure you keep that bend in the front knee. And take a few breaths here. And then we frame our foot and come back to that plank pose. And this is often called in a yoga practice a vinyasa, going down to the mat with the back bend. Sometimes you have the option of just going to a downward facing dog. But we will lower to the mat, into cobra, push back to downward facing dog. And then we step both feet forward into halfway lift. Forward fold. We come up to that chair pose. And then bring our arms down and back to Tadasana, mountain pose. So we'll take that on the other side. Less tips and more breath cues. Again, if your breath is not aligning with my cueing, breathe as you need to keep pace and to feel good. You don't want to run out of breath. So we begin in mountain. Inhale, arms overhead. Sit back, exhale, chair pose. On your next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank pose. On your next exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time we'll bring our right foot forward, left foot at a 45-degree angle, arms up overhead, warrior one. Bring your hands down, step back again into that plank pose. On your next exhale, come all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Make sure your shoulders are pulled away from your ears. I always find I do have to remind myself of that. Step both feet forward into a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair. And then come all the way up to mountain pose. So that is Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. Thank you for trusting me with your practice today. I hope some of the tips will help you as you continue on your yoga journey. Until next time, take care.